I mean, it's not enough that the pillar of fire knocks him out because of the vision. Now he has another dream. He sees the heaven open. He sees God sitting upon his throne, surrounded by numberless concourses of angels in the attitude of singing and praising God. This, I would propose, and it's verse 8, is a beautiful Kabbalistic touch. The throne of God theme. This is the goal, as it were, of the Kabbalistic mystics. Now, I'm not saying that this proves the Book of Mormon's Kabbalistic. I'm not saying that. I'm saying let's understand other angles and aspects of the Jewish exegesis, as it were, that is, the explanation of the Scripture, utilizing the very famous throne of Ezekiel, who was in Babylon. He was the next generation past Lehi, and who is the foundation of the ascension of the soul. The theme is to get to the throne of God. And why? They have a stunning explanation. Now, I've told you before, and I want to show you this because this is good enough. One of the values of studying the Jewish aspects of the Scriptures, of course, is because they are so good at it. But in Rashi, in the commentary on Rashi, he talks about he says, in the beginning when the earth was bewilderment and void, it was tohu vavohu, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the breath of God was hovering upon the surface of the waters. The V'ruach Elohim merach hefet al pnei hamayim, so on and so forth. Well, this idea of the Spirit of God hovering on the surface of the waters, Rashi interprets this to mean that it was the breath of God that was hovering, yes, because ruach can mean spirit, breath, wind, air, so on and so forth. There's various interesting little nuances in the Hebrew. But he says it is the throne of glory that was standing in the air. In the beginning, the throne was not created. It already existed, you see. This is a huge theme with the Jews. It's a very important theme, and there is a serious reason for this. And this is why the commandments of God are so strict in some respects. Now, one of my favorite books to read is Rabbi David A. Cooper, God is a Verb. Don't know if you can see that. God is a Verb. This is about the Kabbalah and the practice of mystic Judaism. He discusses on page 137, 138, he's saying that Rabbi Eliezer said when Moses entered the cloud on Mount Sinai, of course, he was met with numberless concourses of angels also, and various different angels on that Sinaitic endowment for Moses, wherein he was deified, because you remember he came back off the mount and his face shone so much he had to put a veil over his face. The people could not endure his presence. The scholarship on this aspect of Mount Sinai is that the idea was to bring forth the Zion, to exalt and deify the people, but they rejected it. Moses didn't, but the people did. Moses is one of the main, most important prophets that the Nephites use as the Exodus motif for their own Exodus. Nephi harks back to the writings of Moses. He uses Moses and the parting of the Red Sea and the escape from the bondage in Egypt many times to his own brothers. Moses is one of the main patriarchs in the Book of Mormon. As an example, the rabbinical explanation of Moses is that Moses opened his mouth and he spoke to the 12 signs, the names of God that were taught and imprinted in Moses by the Holy One at the burning bush. Isn't it interesting? This number 12 keeps cropping up. I have a lot more to say on that. The number 12 and variants of it, 24. the 12 apostles in the old world, and one of the first things Christ does when he comes to the new world is establish his church with 12 apostles. So there's that number 24, very important number. I'll expound on that. Here, the great angel Kamul, who met Moses on Sinai, was in charge of 12,000 other angels. Again, a variation of the number 12, this time taken up into the thousands. This is very interesting how the Jewish scriptures do this. Nephi does not miss this. Lehi himself, he records, had 12 others following the one who shone brighter than the sun. So this number mysticism, symbolism, is in our Book of Mormon. I just want you to be aware of that. And he says, Moses continued walking in the cloud. His eyes glowed like embers. See, here he is shaken off the mortal coil, so to speak. The same thing happens to Enoch. Andre Orloff and Margaret Barker and several other Enoch scholars have discussed this with Enoch. And I've mentioned that in several videos. Then another angel more eminent than the first came and met him. And this angel was set upon all the celestial beings, and his voice penetrated 200,000 firmaments, which are surrounded by a white fire. See, Joseph Smith said, the glory of God is fire. It's heat. It's light. Heaven is not. Heaven is on fire. It's hell that is cold. Heaven is heat, light, glory, power, strength, communication, the Word. It's ratios. Very interesting how this works out. Well, on seeing this angel, Moses was so awed he could not speak any of the names of God, and he threw himself from the cloud. But the Holy One said to him, Moses, you talked about things with me at the burning bush where you gained the knowledge of the secret holy names and so on and so forth. See, is this some of the stuff that Nephi or Lehi saw in his vision, but Nephi decided he did not need to pursue it as extensively? Unfortunately, Lehi's record was the lost 116 pages in the Book of Mormon. We just don't have a recording of that. Later on, through the spirit of revelation and prophecy, I might add, these rabbis expounded on what is not contained in the biblical record. So this is very interesting. It's all of the same cloth. It just happened to different chosen prophets and patriarchs. And matriarchs, I might add. The prophetess Huldah. Don't forget, women are not excluded. I promise. Well, and then Hadraneel came and spoke and talked to Moses. And he said, Moses, he has several different... These angels take him to the throne of God. And the stream is beneath the throne of glory, is what they call it, and is produced. And Moses came to the angels of terror who surround the throne and are the mightiest of angels. See, this is Lehi's vision.